It hit
Crazy.
1 million views overnight. It was posted on Thursday night at 8 p.m. The next morning, I woke up. It had 1 million views.
Alex Drachnik, you're no stranger to going viral on social media. With millions of followers and views online, if you had to start again from scratch, what would you do different today?
Starting off with just a fire question.
Hmm. For sure.
um, Honestly, I don't think I would change anything, to be completely honest with you. I feel like when I first went viral, it wasn't as much about a strategy and it wasn't about, oh my gosh, I need to rewatch these analytics. I was just making videos for the fun of it. And then I realized, when you do a series and you continue a series and people come back for part two, part three, part four, part five, that's what really makes you pop. Um, I wish I did that earlier, would probably be the thing. But when I went viral at first, I had 1 million followers in 1 month on TikTok just from doing this Russian series, 3 parts a day. It was crazy. So sometimes I wish I could go back to that mindset of just making videos for the fun of it and not having to sit here and overthink, oh my God, the analytics, the retention time. But again, times have changed. That was 5, 6 years ago. So I don't know. I wouldn't really change anything just because what I did in the moment was what worked.
Hmm. So I definitely want to touch on some of those things you mentioned already, like the Russian thing that you talked about. But before we do, I'd love to jump into something very interesting. So if you could take me back a little bit to when you were 13, it sounds like that's when you started getting this interest in recording videos. Take me back to that moment when you first had this idea of, hey, I could do this video thing, because 13 is quite young. What was it that sort of got you like into that mode of thinking?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think back that I've been making videos since I was 13. I'm 33 now, just to give you context. Well, I'm about to be 33 in like 2 weeks. Um, so my parents always had cameras kind of lying around the house. My dad did like photography for fun. They were both engineers, but also creatives at the same time. And one day, my friend from middle school had told me that one of our assignments was to make a music video. And I had said, oh my gosh, my parents have cameras. I'm down to film with it. So we filmed a music video to a secondhand serenade song. And I remember how much fun I had filming. And then my friend said, hey, have you heard of iMovie? And I was like, what's that? And he was like, well, it's an editing tool. And I swear the rest was history. It was like I started editing this video and I was like, wait, this is so fun. And so then from there, I was sort of obsessed with this YouTube account called Smosh. They're really, really, really big. And like
I
I was one
remember
of their
Smosh.
first,
Yep.
yeah, I was one of the like first few fans. I would enter into all their competitions. I don't know if you found my old YouTube account, but a lot of those videos were from like early on.
Oh, no, I
And
didn't, but now I'm
so
going to go look for it.
Mm, there's a second YouTube account that I started, and you can find videos from like 20 years ago. It's insane.
I bet they're
Um,
really embarrassing too. Am I right?
oh,
Some of them.
I love them. They're not embarrassing at all. I love looking at
Oh,
them and
cool.
going,
Okay.
wow, I've been doing this forever. It's so cool. But from that moment on, I started making videos like every weekend with my neighbor. We started our own like production company. Well, I started a production company and just sort of forced her into it because she was there.
Okay.
um, but we were called Jose Ole Taquitos, also known as Jot Productions. And that name just came from the fact that my mom would feed us taquitos for lunch while we were filming. And I just kind of named it that.
Oh my gosh. When
It
when I
was,
did this is just a quick funny story. When I did the research for this interview, I heard the interview where you talked about that, and I thought you said your mom was feeding you tequilas while you were creating these videos. Like, wow, that's a different culture, you know. So what taquitas, is that
taquitos.
taquitos? Sorry.
Taquitos. They're like little rolled mini like tacos that are just like a
Okay.
frozen snack you can get from Costco.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that one up. So okay, so it wasn't tequilas, taquitos. We don't know. I don't know if we got taquitos over here in Australia. Sorry, we're a bit uncultured. You know, we'll
I
have to
love
learn from you
this.
guys.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so I started making all these YouTube videos and I just loved it. And I remember even at like 13, I was like, one day I'm going to move to Hollywood to make movies. That was like the original goal. So I
Mm.
knew at 13 what I wanted to do. And I was like, I'm going to get there someday. And then through lots of twists and turns and ups and downs and da da da, I did do it at some point.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's just hone in a little bit on that because that's really interesting. So you wanted to get to Hollywood, um,
Mhm.
and it sounds like you got there eventually. But tell
Yeah.
me, because this is really interesting to me because it's, you look at all these social media creators and people going viral, and you don't really see what's below the fold or below the surface, right? And I know you've just started a new podcast where Cloud9 with a T, where you talk more about the behind the scenes of going viral and
Mhm.
the darker side of social media, etc. But tell me, what do you think was your motivation for wanting to go into that in the first place? Like what, like so you started 13, you were interested in editing, you did that cool stuff, and that you just naturally latched onto. But have you done a bit of what do you call it? Soul searching, whatever, to figure out what was it that drove you to want to do that in the first place?
Do what? Like working in
Like be on
Hollywood?
vid, like be on video and go to
Mhm.
Hollywood. Obviously, there's been some sort of natural attraction for you to be on
Mhm.
video and to be seen and to not just seen on a screen, but seen at scale. So Hollywood be like the
Mhm.
the ultimate thing, especially when I guess when you were 13, social media wasn't really such a big thing then. But
Yes.
so it would have been Hollywood would have been top of mind for you as a way to be known and to be seen. What do you think was it
Well,
that drove that sort of motivated that? Do you have an idea?
yeah. So this is the thing. I have this constant pull to be both behind the camera and to be in front of the camera, which has been very
Mm,
tough for me because which way do I go? And the stronger pull has always been behind the camera, which sounds crazy because you see me in front of camera all the time. However, I learned as I grew up that I really wanted to just be part of the movie making business. I wanted to be on set. I wanted to be in production versus being on camera. There's just so many different nuances with this. It's such a tough thing.
mm,
Basically, long story short, it comes down to honestly an insecurity thing a little bit for sure. When I'm on camera on like TikTok or when I'm in control of what I look like on video, I am an entertainer. I like to entertain. I like to be funny, but I have control of what I look like. I'm the one shooting it. I'm the one editing it. I'm the one coming up with the ideas. I tried taking acting classes when I lived in LA, and I did not like the fact that someone was telling me what type of character to act, how to do. And I was just like, you know what? I am more of a director and a producer and a creative who can direct myself, but also can direct people. Um, Plus the insecurity thing, to be completely honest, I am not secure enough to be an actor on camera. More power to them, but it is just not something that I was like, I want to be an actor. I just always enjoyed being part of the movie making business or being part of TikTok or social media or something like that. Another big thing is I realized when I would work as like a background extra early on in my LA career before I was like going, working behind the scenes a lot, I would get almost like jealous of the people working in production. I was like sitting there as a background extra, like, man, all of production just thinks I'm just a background extra who's annoying them. But in reality, I've worked on sets as like a PA or in the camera department. And it was like this weird like pride thing. Like I wanted to be part of the cool kids club working on the big movies, not like the person in front of camera being told what to do like a little puppet. So if that gives you any
mm.
context.
That's really interesting because not many people know this about me, but I actually did some acting as well back in the day, and I appeared in some very prominent, well, one very prominent Australian show as an extra.
Ooh.
But no one,
Ooh.
I think my hand got shown or something like that. I was running away I was a robber I don't know, I was a bad guy, an extra bad guy, so a double. But I was attracted to that field as well. But same as you, what I noticed with the acting industry is that you very much you're kind of literally put into a box where you're being told what to say, how to look, how to feel. It's not it is acting, right? So it's not being yourself, and I felt it extremely limiting. And I think getting outside of that box, I think that's why social media has been so cool. We're able to express ourselves and be much more free with that. We're not subjected to someone else's script, so to speak. So it sounds like you've had a similar
Mhm.
experience to just wanting to do your own thing, but also being involved in the nuts and bolts of the production side of things.
Yeah, for sure. I also can tell you that I am a control person, and not in a bad way. It's just, when you have a group of friends and there's always a natural leader, I am that person. I'm always the one that is like, you know what, guys, I got this. I will help start the plan. I'll send out the group chat. I'll start the production. Like, I've just been a natural born leader, producer, director. It's just always been the person I am because I know what I want to do. And I know the group will be happy because I always am providing for a group in some way. Hence why I run a company. I'm managing people. I'm, managing a production manager who can then manage the production, right? So it's just like, it just made sense. What is happening with my charger? Um, it just made sense in the long run, but I didn't realize it until, you get a little bit older. You're like, why am I this way? Here's a good example. When you're in grade school and the teacher goes, all right, group project, and everyone in the class goes, ugh. And then there's a couple students who are like, yes, group project. I'm the one that does that. I'm like, hell yeah, group project. I want A, B, C, or D. We're going to run this shit.
Nice, nice. Okay, so 13, you start with the camcorder or whatever, and the software, and you get interested in that, and you start building things and doing your own little projects. So jump forward a little bit, because then eventually you get to, I think you go through the Hollywood thing and do a bunch of projects there, but then you also get to creating this very fascinating Russian alter ego. So take me a little bit through that genesis and how you got to the Russian character Sasha, because that's fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite story. Okay, buckle up.
I'm
So
ready.
as you know, I've been making videos since I was 13, and I've tried so many different things. At one point, I was a bodybuilder. I competed in 7 bikini bodybuilding shows. I was a fitness influencer for a bit. Like, my page has gone through so many ups and downs of like different categories. So it is what is it? It's like the middle of COVID, okay? And right before COVID, one of my girlfriends had gone super viral on Musically, which is now called TikTok. And she was like, you need to get on this app right now. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I actually have a DM on Instagram from Musically, now called TikTok, telling me to join their app in 2018, I believe, or 19, something like that. It's
Wow,
insane. It's still in my inbox. Yeah. And so I
so
was like,
cool.
fine, whatever, I'll join, whatever. So I joined the app and I only post a little bit. I was in my fitness era at this time. Then COVID hits. Okay. And I'm like, okay, cool, 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 cool. I'm still doing some fitness stuff, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hop on this TikTok thing. Let's see what it is, right? So I start making all sorts of different types of videos. I was doing dances, skits, literally everything. And every about 50 or so videos, something would pop off. But then nothing would pop off again. And I'm just like, what? Like, how this doesn't make sense. Um, so towards the end of 2020, it's like October or November. I'm back working as a staff PA on a TV show called Snowfall that was on FX. This is my first ever staff PA job. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on like a union show. I was like, wow, I've made it. You know what I mean? And I am still making TikToks. I'm going hard in the paint, just trying to figure it out while also running an online fitness business. I was doing so much while also still bodybuilding. I was doing so much at one time.
Crazy.
It was so crazy. All right. So to give you a little backstory context, I grew up with really cool parents that let me watch really cool movies like Donnie Darko, Fight Club, Memento, like you name it, any like
All the good
psychological dark
ones.
thriller, all the good ones. Like Fight Club is literally it is my Bible. It is my favorite movie. It's my favorite book. Like, and I basically Fight
I just
Clubbed
rewatched it
myself.
like a month ago. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
it
God. It's
really hits. It
amazing.
really hits.
Um,
No pun intended. No pun intended. I don't know. Yeah, it really hits.
um, it's basically like the best. Anyway,
Mm.
so I basically Fight Club myself. So I have always viewed this version of me that wore like all black and was really cool. And back then I was dressed very like colorful with like Forever 21 clothes that made no sense. I was just like copying everyone else. I didn't really have a sense of style. I was blonde. I was just whatever, doing whatever everyone wants. So one day I get COVID on the TV show I'm working on, right? We were getting COVID tested every day. And I went on a trip over the weekend. I got COVID over the weekend. I come back to work. I get tested. I wake up the next morning. The officer's like, hey, you have COVID. I was like, oh my God. And they're like, no, no, no. Don't worry. you get to stay home for 2 weeks straight with pay, which is unheard of in the film industry, especially as like a PA. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, okay, okay. And so I sat there in my room and I was like, all right, Alex, you have 2 weeks where nothing is going on in the world. There is no FOMO. If you can't figure out how to go viral, you do not deserve to be on the internet. I literally made a promise to myself. I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I've been doing this for way too long. So I'm sitting there. And at the time, I was doing this series called American Verse. No, it was American Influencer. No, sorry. It was influencer versus social. Oh, sorry, give me one sec. It was here we go. I was doing fitness content, so it was personal trainer versus social media influencer trainer. Okay, so I was doing like a this versus that. It would be like
Mm.
influencers like, oh my god, don't drink anything, don't eat, and then the personal trainer is like, just go to the gym, whatever. They were doing pretty
Mm.
well. So I'm sitting in my room. It's like it's like the day after I got told I have COVID. And if any girls are listening, they could probably relate. When you're a bored girl, you start playing with your hair, your makeup, you have nothing else to do. You're like, well, I don't know. So I start parting my hair down the center. I start doing really dark makeup and putting like a black leather jacket on because, again, that's how I'd always view myself. And I was like, ooh, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, I look so cool. Wait, I kind of look like a Russian like villain or something. And then I was like, wait, my parents call me Sasha. That's my name in Russian. What if I did an American personal trainer versus a Russian personal trainer for like fitness content? I think that's funny because usually in movies, Russians are always like hard ass. They talk like this and they're like, you do 12 push ups and eat vodka for breakfast, right? So
You do that. You
I
do that
legit, this
too
is
well.
so,
You did that way too well.
I know. I trick people with it all the time.
Well,
So
funny thing
I,
is, funny backstory is when I before the interview, I actually thought you were originally Russian. So you did a good job.
good. Okay. So I didn't really have a good Russian accent at the time. So I legit go onto the internet and I look up a translator that basically would say English sentence with a Russian accent because I needed some help. And so I'm putting sentences in and I'm going, this is vodka. Like it was so funny back then. And whatever. So I make this the first video I think I ever made with the Russian accent. It was like American versus Russian getting a COVID vaccine. And the American was like, I'm not getting a vaccine. And then the Russian's like, shoot me up. I use vodka to numb pain. And I literally like take off the bottle cap with my mouth, spit it out, and like pour it on my arm. And the video
Mm.
gets like a couple 100,000 views. And I was like, okay,
Mm.
this is fun. And I just had fun because I like to play characters. I used to cosplay. I love movies. My brain overthinks. So I make a few more of these, and it's about November, December at this point. Keep it in mind, okay? So I'm making a few
Mm.
more of these. I'm working full time on set. I also just got told that they're going to let me into the camera union. So now I'm working as a digital utility trying to get into the camera union on the same film set that I was working on as a PA while making videos, while bodybuilding and doing fitness. I don't even know how I fit it into the day. So I'm
Wow.
making all these videos. They're getting like a couple hundred views, but nothing like crazy yet. And so then whatever. So now it's January 6th, 5th or 6th, 2021. I asked one of the PAs to come over. I'm like, hey, you want to come over and help me make some American versus Russian videos for my Sasha character? She's like, sure, cool. I was like, great. She comes over. We make this one video. It was American versus Russian going to the grocery store. The American's like, I'm going to the grocery store. And then the Russian, me, is like, the mom goes, where are you going? And I go, to get some vodka. And she was like, yeah, it's that one. Yep. Actually, you want to
Mm.
play it?
I can. Yeah. Let me hit play. Let's see if it
Wait,
works.
where are you this going, young crazy lady?
To the store, Ma.
Make sure you get some bacon for breakfast.
Where are you going?
To the store to get the rich husbands.
Get more vodka.
Get rich.
Where are you going, young lady?
So good.
10 million views.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
million views. It
Crazy.
hit 1 million views overnight. Overnight. We post that on, it was posted on Thursday night at 8 p.m. The next morning I woke up, it had 1 million views. Yeah, wait, see what the date was. Legit. Like go click it real
Let's see. The
quick. I want to
date
see what like,
here was the 2021. The what was that? The 7th of the 1st. Is that right? 7th of January.
so it was the 7th. Yeah, that was January 7th. Okay. So it hits 1 million views. I wake up the next morning. Everyone's freaking out on the internet. I posted on Instagram too. And none of my friends at the time had really known that like I was doing this. I was mainly doing it on TikTok. So I started posting on Instagram. Everyone's freaking out. I have now a text from the biggest Russian TikToker who lives in America who has like 2 million followers at the time. I only had 200K at the time. Okay. He's like, we need a collab right now. I saw your video. And I just sat there in my room and was like, okay, Alex, this is what you fucking said during your little, COVID, 2 weeks at home COVID. You said you were going to figure it out and you just figured it out. So I sat there all day and I was like, okay, what the very next video I post will make or break my career legitimately, because it's like, I need to keep up the momentum. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh, duh, do a part 2, a part 3, a part 4, a part 5, duh. Like that's what my branding is. That's my consistency. I'll play this Russian character. So I call that guy over. Let's see if it's somewhere here.
It's
right there.
Here, isn't it? Yeah, this
yep,
one.
Yep, I call him
2.
over. Yep, here, play it.
Okay,
I call him over and we make the part 2 video.
Let's see.
Oops.
Oh, wait.
No, it clicked the wrong
it's
one.
messed up a bit. It sometimes does this. I don't know why. Let me get play again. And no, I don't want to go there. Let me try again. Plan. Oh, bad.
You have 72 hours.
We've got to find this one. There we go. I'll try yet again. Oh,
you have to go to popular videos, yeah.
And then, okay. I'm definitely clicking on it. You're my witness. Click.
I've returned
from There we go.
store with vodka. Did you find the ex-husband?
Someone looking for me?
There he is. So that's him. I didn't realize he's a famous guy,
Yeah.
but okay, so he's a famous
Well,
dude
he
in
was-
Russia.
Well, no. He's just like he's just a big TikToker.
Okay, not
Like,
a Russian
yeah, he's just-
TikToker. He's just a big TikToker.
No. He's just a big TikToker that is also plays a Russian. Well, he's actually Russian, but he lives in America. But he was
Got
like at the time, he was like the main Russian guy on TikTok. So when the main Russian guy on TikTok hits up me, obviously it's like, wow. And that literally was it. Those 2 videos, that was it. It was like I posted 3 videos a day, every single day for a month straight. Some were all by myself, some were with him. They were all American versus Russian. I hit 1 million followers on TikTok in 1 month on my birthday, and I got a tattoo of a vodka bottle on my middle finger. And I hit it on my birthday weekend with all my best friends around me in Mammoth, and it was the craziest, coolest feeling ever. And I didn't see my friends for 1 month because I was filming so many things. And I just remember I was collabing with so many people. I was working with so many different TikTokers. I grew the account to 1 million followers. I never thought I was going to be able to do that. And I couldn't believe it was happening. And the craziest part too was right before my birthday, I went to some party where I haven't seen my friends in a month. I've been blowing up on the internet. Okay. And I go to a party and I was like kind of nervous because like, I don't know what they're going to think. I don't know. I don't know. So I walk into a party and all of my friends turn around and they're like, holy crap, Alex, like this is so cool. Like we had no idea. I was like, I had no idea either. Like this is just, it's my life now. I'm your Russian character friend. And then what was even crazier, I was working full time on that film set the rest of the month. It ended in January. And every day I would show up to the set, I was still half a PA and half trying to get myself into the camera union. So every day I'd show up to set, my videos are going absolutely bonkers viral on every single platform, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. And I have like the director, the DP, the actors coming up to me and they're like, is this you? And I'm like, yes. What's your coffee order? They're like, yes, but is this you? And I'm like, yes, it is. But your coffee order.
Classic.
And they're like, what? And I remember, I don't know if he'll remember this, but D. Ray Davis, the actor, he was on the show. He literally came up to me and goes, this is how it starts. Do not stop. I said, yes, sir. And I never looked back.
Amazing. That's an amazing story. I mean, to be going from working, doing the fitness stuff, the bodybuilding, and then to sort of get to this TikTok fame. It must have been a bit of a shock to the system in a way, especially at the beginning there, because it happened. Well, actually, it didn't happen like right away, right? I think it took like 20 videos or something like that. It didn't happen on day one, correct? It took a while before you got to that first viral video. Is that correct?
Yeah, it took a couple months because I started that Russian series in November. It was Thanksgiving because I had to miss Thanksgiving that year because I had COVID. So it was about a month and a half, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's an interesting, an important lesson, I think, is that oftentimes we try something for like a couple of weeks or whatever, and it's like, it doesn't work, we give up. But you actually kept going.
Wait. Can I chime into that? It wasn't just a month and a half. It was 15 years of work. It's called the 10-year overnight success story that nobody freaking talks about.
Yep. Got it. Got it. And you cover that a bit
Yeah.
in your your podcast as well. How people just see that viral video and go, oh, she got it easy and whatever else, but they don't see that 15 to 20 years of hard work preparing you for that and getting you ready for that moment. So I'm really glad you bring that up in the podcast, but also here today. And yeah, so but even on the shorter scale, when you're starting a new project like this, you can't expect it to go mega successful on day one. Like it took you at least a couple of months or whatever to even get that Russian video dialed in, or the Russian character Sasha dialed in, and then eventually going viral on that. So, okay, so that's really cool. Now, one interesting thing about that story is that you came to a pretty strong realization. I guess it was only after you went viral that you should be doing some sort of a series here, like instead of just a one-off. Like, how do you keep this ball going? What do you think was the trigger for that to make you realize that? And can you remember, if you go back, how you did you have a good idea of what the series should be about? Was it just going to be the same thing, like the Russian, American versus Russian fitness content, or did you change the idea up a little bit? How did you go about nailing down the actual series that you then used for not just going viral once, but several times, and then building, over 1 million followers?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about testing, as you know. It's just, I was doing the fitness stuff at first, and then I kind of realized, this was like before it went super mega viral. I kind of realized I could do it with any topic. And I think that's the fun part about this series I did, was that it is a very broad um series. For instance, like I was playing this Russian character, originally doing American versus Russian. I could do American versus Russian with literally anything. It is an infinite amount of ideas. So instead of just fitness, I started branching out about COVID, and then I did some about like fashion and like going home. And then I was like, wait. So when I had that very viral video moment and then made the second one with Edward, the other Russian character, I was like, wait, I can just repeat this formula over and over and over and over again. And you know what I think did it? It was the fact that I had 2 weeks of a break, when I had COVID, because I hadn't had a break in so long. I had been working my ass off for years because, working in production, especially when you're freelance, if you don't work on a day, you're not getting paid. So I had no time to sit and think for a while. So now I had 2 weeks straight where nothing was going on and I didn't have any FOMO. So I had time to just think and sit and realize, because something I've learned as I've gotten older is you need down days, not because, you need a break, but you need to absorb all of the information and all the things you've learned, maybe unintentionally. And it helps you sit there and go, wait a second. That's how good ideas get made.
Okay. So it wasn't just the same thing over and over again. You had the series going, but you figured out the overall structure or formula for that series, but then you figured out that, hey, it's this, you can actually plug in any kind of content into the same formula and it would just keep on working. And
Kind of, not really.
Give me a bit
Actually,
more
'cause,
detail
like,
there. Yeah.
yeah. What I mean is that American versus Russian, right? I can do that with anything. And what I mean by that is American versus Russian with an iPhone, American versus Russian drinking, American versus Russian, da da da. That's what I'm talking about like the formula, is that it was American versus Russian does any topic, right? That was what it started as. And I realized that was something that I could replicate. And then what really did it is I thought about branding, and I was like, wait, when you go to Kim Kardashian's page, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting fashion, you're getting cool photos of her, you're getting skims, right? If you went to my page before I was doing the Russian thing, you were getting such a variety of things. It was like, what does this person do? I don't understand. So it kind of hit me. I was like, wait a second. When people go to my page, I want them to be like, this is that funny Russian girl who does American versus Russian. But then obviously it branched out because I realized my Russian character is literally a whole nother person and a character. And so I branched it out to so many other things later on. Like, I don't really do American versus Russian anymore. However, when I do that type of content, it always hits. But when I want to take it back really quick. When I had said I fight clubbed myself before, as my American self, I would be like kind of dressed whatever. Then as my Russian self, I would always wear the all black and I would act very cool and I'd talk in the Russian
Mm.
accent. And then slowly it actually turned into me because this is the person I've always wanted to be.
Mm.
You saw in that first video, I was blonde still. Now I have the hot pink hair I've always wanted. I didn't even know I wanted it. I've got a sleeve tattoo. You know, I wear all black. I have a style of fashion now. So I essentially fight club myself by making an alter ego. It's really cool.
So just for those people who haven't watched, those 2 or 3 people who haven't watched Fight Club, that's where you basically beat yourself up, right? As a way of saying it. You fight against yourself, not realizing that you're fighting yourself, and you sort of,
Yes.
well, I don't want to give away the storyline too much, but
Yeah.
so what you're saying is that you were perhaps before you started doing the Russian Sasha character, you were beating yourself up quite a bit and not quite accepting yourself, or you were portraying yourself as someone that maybe you were not quite identifying with, and throughout that
I
process you
was
actually discovered yourself a bit more and became more of who you actually were.
literally I used to conform a lot, so anytime I go to brunch I'd wear all white. Anytime I go to a content house I was wearing like Forever 21 outfits. I had no sense of self and who I really was. And then crazy enough, I play this Russian character and legitimately it gave me confidence. It was like when I talk to people I'd be like hi and it was like whatever, and then I'd be like hello, I am Sasha, what is your name? And it was instantly like funny and cool and just like see, it was just like oh my god.
Mm.
And it gave
Mm.
me confidence because I was talking in this character, so I wasn't as like nervous because I was like, oh, it's just a character. That character slowly turned into me, and now I am more confident than I've ever been. You know, the pink was an accident, and now it's my entire head. I started my sleeve that I always wanted because my best friend was like, "Why are you waiting on doing your tattoo?" I was like, "Why am I waiting?" And then it's just so cool how, like, for me, social media really helped me fall into who I actually am, which is so funny because usually it's such the opposite for other people.
Yeah. Now I want to change gears a little bit here because it's been amazing to see how you went from the young 13-year-old with handicap or whatever, and then progressing through the production side, being star yourself a little bit, but then the Russian character, and that just popping off, and you going completely viral on that, and building a big, huge social media profile around that character, and then using that. Actually, before I want to ask the next thing is you've then used that exposure you've had to now build up a social media video production agency or social video
Yeah.
marketing agency. So how did you transition from going from the character and that social media fame to building a successful agency off that, or was there a little bit in between? Because you mentioned that a little bit in your podcast. You don't use these words, but it's kind of like the darker side of social media, like what happens when you're not famous anymore, or how do you deal with trolls and these sort of things. Like maybe that's
Yeah.
part of the same question. I don't know, but you managed to transition from that world
Yeah.
to now doing the agency work as well, but still having that world as part of your life as well. So
Yeah.
dig into that a little bit, how you went from that, from that fame transition to the business and anything in between that happened to get you there.
Yeah, so it's not as foreign as you think, just because I had already been working in production in LA and Hollywood. So the first 6 months after I went viral was just so fun. I was working here and there on random film sets just to make some money, but at the time, because I was going so viral, I was making enough money from TikTok and social media to make a living and pay my rent, just because it was different back then. But the first 6 months, I was just collabing with people and doing other things. But then, as much as I loved, being on camera and stuff all the time, I always was a little worried that like social media does change every day. A new social media platform pops off. Maybe they'll stop monetizing one random day. They never warn you. So I was like, you know what? Like the whole point of building a platform is to prove to everyone that you are marketable in some sort of way. And a lot of big creators end up being actors, musicians, models, I don't know, anything. And I was like, wait, I'm going to use this social media fame and clout, right, to build a social media business to help everyone else. So just to give you a little backstory here, when I was bodybuilding, I did 7 bikini bodybuilding competitions. A couple of years after I first started, people started asking me, how did you do that? And I started an online fitness business because I find fulfillment and joy in helping other people do the thing that I learned. So I basically did the same thing with social media. I got really good at it, and I started having people ask me like, hey, like, how'd you go viral? And I was like, interesting. And I never really knew that was kind of the direction I wanted to go. When I was 13 years old making these videos, I said one day I'm going to own my own production company. Did not know that would be a social media production agency, but there you go. I manifested it when I was younger. So the very first client that ever asked me to do work for them was Insomniac, which is one of the biggest festival production companies in America and worldwide too. They do everything from like EDC, and it's like EDC Vegas, EDC Orlando, and all these festivals, between Florida, California, and between in America. And prior to me working in Hollywood, I used to be a freelance, like PA for like festivals, and I'd be a photographer for festivals. So I've always had my toes in the festival world. So now I got a call from Insomniac. They're like, hey, we have TikTok accounts. We have no idea what to do with them. And you have been recommended by 3 people because 1, you're viral, 2, you work in production, and 3, you have festival event production experience. And I'm like, holy shit, this is sick. Like
Perfect match.
the first, I was like, wait, I am the best at this. I was really early on. And just to give you context too, like, right after I went viral and I was done working on Snowfall, I was like, all right, do I stay working in Hollywood in production and try to work my ass off the next 20 years of my life trying to make it to DP? You know what I mean? Or do I go this new route? And I'm ahead of everyone for the first time ever. I know social media and TikTok better than a lot of other people, and it's new and it's exciting. And I was like, you know what? I'm going this way. This is the first time I've ever felt like I'm ahead of everyone. And I love production. I miss it sometimes, but I do not miss the long days and having no life. I literally was working 15 hours a day, sometimes Friday nights into Saturday. It was exhausting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this new thing. So I end up doing a couple festivals for Insomniac. And I remember like the first couple of festivals, I was shooting TikToks live. Like I'm coming up with ideas, I'm shooting it, I'm running back to the office, I'm editing it and posting it live. I do that for like 2 days of the festival, which is a very like unique skill to have because not a lot of people can like shoot, edit, come up with an idea, edit, post it, and do it again because it is you got to be quick. There's no like, oh, I have 2 hours. No, you got 30 minutes, So I did that. And the first couple of accounts got tons of followers and they really liked me. I still work with Insomniac as a contractor to this day. And that was in 2021. Wow. They're so amazing to work with and they contract my agency all the time. So anyway, when I got a taste of that, I was like, wait a second, this is the bigger picture. This is the bigger picture. I don't just want to rely on, it's the same thing with acting. You're actually making me realize something. I didn't want to just be pigeonholed as like, oh, an influencer creator. Same way I didn't want to just be pigeonholed as like, an actor. I want to be known as something bigger. And if you have a production agency or your own business, it's just like so much massive and so much bigger than just being a creator. And I'm not trying to, put creators down, but it makes me more of like an authority, a professional. Like she knows what she's talking about. And so it took a couple of years before I did start Drac Social officially. I did start the LLC a few years before I started the actual company, just because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to plan ahead here. I learned a lot before I started it. Because of Insomniac, I met a lot of DJs, and a lot of those DJs wanted to work with me personally. But guess what I found out real quick? I only have so much time in the day. So when I'm working with 3 DJs who want me to shoot, edit, and post for them, I can't do it myself. But I didn't know any better to like outsource that. I just didn't know. I've never went to business school. How would I know that? I'm a creative. So then as I was drowning, I got a call from one of my old mentors. He asked me to be a creative director at another agency that he was starting. I did that for a year. And then finally after that year, I pivoted and officially started Drac Social about 3 years ago, officially. And it has been an interesting challenge trying to balance being a business owner and a content creator, because at the end of the day, the reason I started a business, I don't know which hand I said. The reason I started a business was because I make content. And so if I don't make content, then the business does not like work because I need to still be creative myself. So that's been a fun balance of just like, okay, we found out that I get 1 day a week to have my own shooting days, and that is Thursday, which is today. So on Thursdays, leave Alex alone, let her go shoot her content, let her go be creative, let her brainstorm, let her do podcasts, because that fuels my fire to run this business and help my clients.
Awesome. So that's actually quite a nice segue for me. So if you were to put on your agency hat now, you've got clients and you've got this massive experience of making videos go viral. I want to shoot a few questions at you, and you've got like 1 or 2 minutes each to answer them. Hopefully we can get through all of them in that given time. But keep them short, because we might clip these and they might go viral. Who knows?
Okay.
Okay. So put on the social media agency hat, and let's see how we go. So, all right, Alex, in the next 1 or 2 minutes, what would be your number one tip for going viral?
Start a series and continue the series and do not stop. Find something interesting and unique. And also, let me just round that back. Reset.
Sure. Just
Okay.
Reset, because I forgot to change the screen over anyway. So, do you want me to ask the question again?
Ask the question again. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start again. Okay. So, Alex, in 1 or 2 minutes, what's your number one tip for going viral?
My number one tip for going viral is do your research. Watch every single Mr. Beast podcast. Watch every single podcast about social media and going viral, because guess what? All the tricks, all the secrets are all online. Instead of just trying to figure it out yourself like I had to do back then, there are now sources to do it. Mr. Beast literally tells you how to go viral on the internet. You find a trend that is already working, and you find another trend that is already working, and you do something unique and you pair them together. So for instance, one of my friends told me, eating in the car was viral and doing day in the life videos were viral. And guess what? When you put those two together, you now have your own unique series. So it comes down to finding things that are already viral and doing your little twist on it, and then continuing that series for part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and never stop. Do the series over and over and over again, because guess what? You might think you're posting too much, but you're not, because every video you post is someone's first time seeing it.
Absolute gold. I love that one. So many people have told me that. So many successful people have told me that, to model from other people's success, So that's absolutely awesome. Okay. Next one. In 1 or 2 minutes, Alex, what's the biggest mistake people make when they're creating short form videos?
The biggest mistake people make is, hold on, pause real quick. I do need to think about this one. Give me a sec. Biggest mistake. Okay. I think the biggest mistake people make in their videos is this is a tough one. Okay. The biggest mistake people make in their videos is they start videos with, "Hi guys, my name is," stop. Nobody cares about you. If you are just starting out on social media, you need to have an aggressive start to the video. Do something crazy, do something interesting, get people's attention. Do not start with, "Hey guys," have good lighting, use your iPhone. We all have an iPhone these days. You can use natural lighting. Just try something different as well. Like, see, this is a tough question to answer.
You're doing really well. I love that one, actually. Like the one where people just start with an, "Hey, I'm blah, blah, blah."
Like it's the biggest mistake. Who cares? Nobody cares. Even if I do "Hey guys," it's like nobody cares. Who are the "Hey guys"? Who are you saying "Hey guys" to? But stop. Yeah, right. Stop introducing yourself in the beginning of the video. My biggest advice is, if you have a video and you have a weird intro, watch the whole video, find the most shocking and viral part of the video, even if it's in the middle, move it to the front, use it as your hook for the first 3 seconds. I do it all the time and it works fantastic.
Love it. I think we'll piece together that one. It's going to turn out to be really nice in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more. All right, Alex, in 1 or 2 minutes, try again. Alex, in 1 or 2 minutes, what's the best way to make money with short form video?
TikTok shop. That's it. The best way to make money with short form video is TikTok Shop. I wish I started TikTok Shop sooner. I have friends making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. It is the best way to do it. It's also incredible because you don't even have to have millions of followers. You just need 1,000 followers to start with TikTok Shop videos. 5,000 is ideal because you get more perks, but you can be a regular person talking about products. You can literally shoot it as if it's like an Instagram story and you can make so much money. One of my girlfriends literally just bought a house because she made 6 figures from one TikTok Shop video in 3 weeks. So that's my advice. If you want to make money, go to TikTok Shop. It's the fastest way to make money for anyone.
Amazing. Gold again. Love it. All right. One final one.
Yeah.
One final one before we move towards ending things up or closing things down. Okay, Alex, in 1 or 2 minutes. You kind of covered this already, but I want to come at it from a different angle. Okay. Alex, in 1 or 2 minutes, what's the best way for finding a repeatable format for viral short form videos?
If you want to find a repeatable format for short form videos, I would definitely recommend. Well, hold on real quick. Pause on the side. Was this when I was talking about like finding the Mr. Beast podcast?
Yes, I thought I thought you kind of already tackled that one with taking the viral ideas and grouping them together. I thought that was good. So I mean, if you think you've already covered it, we don't have to do it again.
Yeah, I think I already covered that one. If you have another question.
Actually, well, the next question I have is really my final question for you, and that is, are there any questions that you think I've missed? For helping, so many people out there who want to learn how to not just go viral, but how to build a successful social media presence. So, and I'm sure there's questions that I haven't asked that I should have in this interview today. So if you could put on your interview hat, what do you think what have I missed? What's a question that I should have asked that maybe I didn't? Or a bunch of questions?
That's a good question too. Let me think really quick. I don't know. It's tough. A lot of people I feel like some questions are like, how do you make a living online? How long does it take? Because it is something that isn't instant at all. Some people, I see a lot of kids these days saying, when I grew up, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a streamer. I want to be a content creator, but don't realize how much work it goes into actually doing it. So maybe asking questions about how long does it actually take to make a living online? How long does it, another big one I get asked a lot is how do you constantly come up with ideas? How do you never burn out? But it's the truth is we all do burn out, but you just got to find the balance. But does balance actually exist? I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe that's actually a good place to bring the interview to an end, because you cover quite a lot of that stuff in your podcast. And so I really encourage people to go and check that out. That's on YouTube. Yeah. I might just show that on the screen here. If you go to search for, actually, let me share my screen here. This is Alex's main YouTube channel, or not the main one, but where is that one that I had before? I thought I had it here. I'm looking for the Cloud9 one. There's the podcast itself. Oh, here it is, of course. Here it is. So if you want to find out more about this podcast, you can look for Cloud9 Pod on YouTube, or just search for Cloud9. It should come up and you'll see this amazing set of interviews here. It's relatively new still, so still in beginning phases. But, I listened to the first one, for example, and, your sort of genesis story, it was just amazing. So I recommend people really go and check that out. But Alex, you also have your amazing agency here at draxsocial.com. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of those two things, and then we'll close things off?
Yeah, so Cloud9, it's on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and you can actually watch the episodes on Spotify, which is really cool. So Cloud9 essentially is a podcast where I interview anyone who's made a living online, creators, influencers, business owners, anyone. You could be an eBay influencer, you could be a Snapchat influencer. I want to know your story, how you did it, how you make money, and how social media has affected your mental health, because nobody talks about that, and I think it's such an interesting topic, because I know everyone's struggling with it. And have had some amazing interviews. I have so many amazing interviews coming up. I have a guy who just hit 1 billion views on one YouTube short on YouTube recently, and there are only under 600 videos on YouTube Shorts in the entire world that have hit 1 billion views. So he gives me those secrets. I got a Snapchat guru. I've got a guy who literally pivoted and does something similar to me. I have someone who also, like a reality TV show star who also does social media. Erica over there who does fitness. Chloe, the second interview, is the one who made, 6 figures from TikTok Shop. And then we have a voice actor who also does social media. It's like I have so many different people. And the coolest part is all these people are my friends. Like I have been so fortunate to network and make friends with so many cool people. And now I have a platform to share it. And then Drax Social is my social media video production agency. So if you are an already established brand with an internal marketing team, but you guys do not have the time to do your own social media and you need to outsource, we are that agency. We will, my alarm went off. We will do everything for you. We are a full service agency. We shoot, we come up with the ideas, we shoot it, we edit it, we post it, and we do the whole social media management. And we do that every month. But as I said, we specifically work with like bigger companies. I am starting hopefully a community soon for more of like personal brands, entrepreneurs, people that, can't afford a retainer for a big brand to have a place to learn social media from me and my team.
Alex, this was an incredible show. I just really, really enjoyed it. I loved your story and the background, and it's so crazy how you just went viral like that, and how you've survived to tell the tale. And and thank you for sharing your wisdom. I wish you all the best for the new podcast and also for Drax Social. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And I wish you the best on your podcast too. This has been awesome. Great questions, by the way. Like, this is really great.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to grow your influence with daily short form videos, Vubli makes it effortless. Post everywhere, be seen everywhere. Try it free at vubli.ai. I'll see you in the next episode.